Welcome back to another episode of Ortiz Unfiltered. I don't know the buttons, guys, so I have my special co-host. If you do not stop with the fan, I'm gonna punch you in the face mid podcast. This is my cousin Josh. He's in town from Houston, Texas. He's a Texas boy.
And if you know me, you don't know me.
Oh, cheers! I forgot. Cheers.
We got our manager in the back there.
Yeah, I was like, what?
2 managers.
So, I've been wanting to do this this podcast for a while. I've been wanting to talk about a certain subject that I had told you one time, and it might offend a little amount of people, but I believe in healing anything that is trauma for us. Like, I think we relate a lot to that we can talk about certain things and, like, we feel the same things and, like, you know, we've experienced the same things. And, like, I think it's one of those subjects that, like, I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I don't think it was appropriate to talk about it with Oscar. Like, because I could talk to it with him, but he can't relate.
Yeah, he wouldn't understand.
Like you would understand.
At that level. Yeah.
Or like our other manager over there would relate, but I don't think he'll ever do a podcast with me.
Brothers in the house.
My brother's in the house.
Brother.
So we come from a very strict Colombian household full of women.
Catholic. Colombian household.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was born, I was taken right away from Texas and brought here. So I've lived here my whole life and I was raised here my whole life. And the only person that really got to live it was my brother, which is the oldest cousin out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Our other cousin, Christian, and Josh.
Like and a little bit Jade. My sister.
Oh,
Jade.
yeah, because that's his sister. But I never really got to live it the way that they did and see, like, the things that they would see. And I didn't notice, like, I knew a little bit, but I think I've noticed a lot last year. Because I have never spent a holiday with my family. And I didn't notice it until last year when I went back home. And I spent the holiday with them, and I left traumatized. I left traumatized for me. I left traumatized for my husband, and I left traumatized for my daughter. And I was traumatized for, like, the sake of my. He's like another brother to me. Like, we were raised together a little spurts of our life, but I feel like we've gotten closer, and, like, we relate very much. So, like, I felt so bad that, like, this is what you deal with. Like, I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel, like, now that you're older and you're able to have a voice, right?
So, yeah. So, if you know me and you have seen my trips and things like that, but I tend to skip holidays and years. Like, if I go to Thanksgiving one year, then the next year, like, I'm not at Thanksgiving. You know, if I go to Christmas one year, or if I do Thanksgiving with the family, then I don't do Christmas with the family. You know, I definitely don't do New Year's ever. My birthday's on the 30th, so I tend to go out the year after. So I'll invite cousins and things like that, but I don't do that with family.
Mind you, that was our first New Year's together.
Yeah, since we've been adults.
No, I'm saying with them.
Oh, yeah, you guys with them. Yeah, coming to Texas for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And other holidays, we just, like, I mean, they're hit or miss. Like Easter, like being in a Catholic household and myself being confirmed Catholic, like, we do celebrate it, and I tend to be, with Ama and, everybody for Easter, but I've slowly stopped doing that.
Okay.
And like other holidays and things like that, like I spend it with friends and things like that. I mean, it's not like those aren't the get together, hang out holidays. So
So why do you feel like you tend to veer off your own ways?
so, and this is, I mean, I've heard it go different ways with Hispanic families. So,
And hold on, I will say something. I find my podcast to be a very healing podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about my daughter. I've talked about, my relationship, my marriage, my family. This is a form of healing for me. This is my space to heal and to be able to talk about it with people that can relate to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a majority of Hispanics out there that I can relate to that come from the same household, and I don't tend to offend anybody, not even my family. Please don't get offended.
Yeah.
It's just,
yes,
it's our voice.
Yeah.
And let us be heard. If you don't want to listen to us in your face, hear this, and maybe this will give you a different light.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of this also doesn't, like a lot of the things that I'm going to say don't really relate to all Hispanic families, Some for sure. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like I've heard it go different ways, but some Hispanic families, like they do the holidays together. They love it. Like it's so fun. It's nice. Right? You're like drinking, you're dancing, you're hanging out.
You're having a good
you're
time.
Loving each other.
You are enjoying each other.
You enjoy each other's company. Other families, they tend to there's arguments, and a lot, and it tends to be a lot of arguments. And there are good times, like beautiful times. Then there are it's just arguments, and that tends to be our family. We preface our get-togethers with, hey, no fighting this year. Like, hey, we're gonna be together for the first time in over a year. Like, don't
mess it up.
No one start fights. Like, let's have a beautiful, fun, time together and blah, blah, blah. And to me, I'm like, why do we have to preface our relationships like that? There are families who tend to argue that's our family, And so
it's the stupidest arguments.
Yeah, it's like the dumbest thing. Yeah.
It's like, are we really here for this? Like, are we really I'm not going to go into deep of what we argued about for the first time that I came back home and went for New Year's. I'm not going to talk about it just out of the respect of the people involved in it. But I was like, and I kind of sensed, let me not say that. I do find that the reason that the argument started was a very dumb thing. And I feel like it's just jealousy. Like they don't know, it's siblings.
So
they don't know how to see somebody
interact
else
with each other,
but see their children be happy with their person.
Yeah.
Their
so we
siblings.
can kind of preface this a little bit as well. And I don't think that this is giving too much information, but our parents were left in Colombia for a few years before they moved to the state. Were left by both of our grandparents, and they had our only uncle, and the girls stayed behind, and that it really has nothing to do with gender, actually. I don't know why I'm tiptoeing around it, but so they were left in Colombia for 4 years, I think, and so they're not seeing they didn't see their dad for longer than 4 years. They hadn't seen our grandma for 4 years, and then they come to the States, and they're living in New York for a little bit, and then they're moving down to Texas, and then after a while, I don't know how long after it was, but then our grandfather was killed, and so then they were raised by our grandmother, and it was not very warm. Imagine being a mother who lost your husband,
came to the United States.
You're in a new country, you barely know the language, and you're raising 4 kids now. And we had family here, but it was still hard, and I think she had to be tougher, especially because our parents were
Rebels.
really like bad.
Really
Like
bad.
they did a lot of crazy things, and it was hard. Yeah. So like nobody is blaming anybody here. We're not putting blame on. We're just trying to explain like what they had to go through. And so with that being said, she was not as warm and loving to the kids, to our parents,
Mm-hmm.
and so they didn't grow up understanding that. And so it has been difficult for a lot of them to
Be.
relate that to us, the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I do
That
agree
seems
with
like
that. I do agree with that, but I don't know, like I get it. I do get it. I do understand it, but I'm more like I'm a mom already, and I'm like, is it that hard?
and I think also with it is like there is that our generation has like more access to things. The technology is like gone from where I was with like a Nokia phone in like seventh grade playing
Yeah, they
Snake
didn't have
to what
anything.
we have now. Yeah, and
I just, I'm gonna bring up a little thing, and I think it's funny because it's like
oh yeah, you say this.
a game, a video game, a
Oh.
game, a simple game. They didn't have that back then,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't know how to relate to us because our generation likes to like mingle and play video games or like hey, let's play this card game. And I think
Yeah,
it's like, what the fuck is that? That's so stupid. Like, and
yeah,
they don't understand that to us, that's fun. Like, that's how we
right,
grew up doing these things. And
right.
to them, it's like, I never had that. Like, why the fuck do you even, like, let's talk,
Yeah,
let's
let's
drink,
dance,
let's
let's drink,
dance.
let's dance. Yeah, that's the main things. Like, and that's what our generation's parties were. Like, we were even when we were younger, because I remember coming to Florida and this one over here in the corner
My brother used to be,
walking around
I
the
have a
party with
lot
a
of
shot
memories.
glass
Oh.
around his a shot glass necklace.
I remember one story, and I
Yeah.
will never forget this story. Like, I find it to be one of the funniest moments like I've ever seen my brother. So, like in any Hispanic home, in most homes, like they allow their children to drink with them at a certain age. They allowed my brother to drink, and we were at a house party. One of our really good friends, like our good family friends, they had a house party, and he used to have the grills back then.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I will never let this story go. Like I
I
literally
forgot about it.
swear to you, correct me if I'm wrong, that you had just gotten them, the grills. And he got so drunk that he swallowed them or he threw them up, one of the two. What was it? I think he
I thought
swallowed
you
them.
swallowed
I think
one.
he
I thought you
swallowed.
swallowed the bottom ones. Yeah.
I will never live that up. Like I think that is the most funniest moment like I've ever seen my brother.
Yeah, I mean that was our generation though. Like
Yeah.
we actually like partied with them,
Yeah.
and so until it got to where it was like more technology and things like that. But with that being said, like it's just different. Like our holidays are a little bit different because now they're trying to like kind of like relate to us and like find things so that we
I
can all do
don't think so.
together. You don't think so?
No.
Well, with that situation over this last year, like yeah, no. But my mom's trying. She tries.
Fuck you. My mom's trying.
Your mom wasn't there.
No, she wasn't. She was
wasn't
sick.
there.
She was sick.
Yeah. But
I don't know why they are the way that they are. And I feel kind of bad. Like, and I think, and you could say if I'm wrong, I think that the way that they are with each other has brought us to be how we are with our
with each-
siblings
yeah,
or with each other.
I think with each other. I mean, I have a lot of siblings. Not all like from my mom. Only one from my mom that I grew up with, and I think that it has brought like I feel closest to like you guys who I grew up with, um, and I have been lucky enough to grow up with like you two Jade, and then
All
also
of
with
them.
like Christian, yeah, and then like our other cousins, Mark and Carlos, and then yeah, I guess the others, John's cousin or kids, and so it is a little bit different in my situation. Like I know everybody, um, whereas like you guys aren't as close to
Yeah.
like Carlos and Mark, you know.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it's different, but we do tend to be a little bit more loving towards each other, just because like I don't know. I think that
But us.
well, us like we are much closer, yes.
But I don't think
Because
we're like. I don't think I'm living with anybody else.
no, I don't think you are either.
Like I don't. I can't relate to anybody else. Like I didn't, and I think that's the saddest thing ever because it's like, who does not want to grow up with like a whole bunch of cousins and like have like that how you see on the internet you have like, oh my god, my cousins, like we're gonna have a sleepover, we're having trips, we're having fun, we're having this, and it's like I didn't have any of that.
I didn't.
I didn't, and like that when we went for your birthday to the bar, that you were able to bring like both parties. Because it's like our side of the family, and then we have another side of the family. That's my grandma's sister's side.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a lot of cousins on that side too. So
in Houston too.
yeah, we were able to experience that one time for Tatiana's wedding.
Oh yeah,
that we were
fun.
all
We
together.
were all
All the cousins were except Jesse wasn't there, and we all had a great time until somebody decided to ruin it the moment. But
all right, that's a story that actually could be told.
Go ahead, bitch. Tell me. Go ahead, bitch. I'm ready for you.
And this was the first time that we had like a really big fight. Like we didn't talk for a while.
I was so damn pissed. I was so pissed.
I had brought a date that I have been best friends with since high school. High school, sophomore in high school. So we have known each other for at least half our lives now. And she's also Colombian. And we were at the bar after the wedding, and we had been drinking all day long at the wedding, and then we went out, and this was our like last stop for the night. And we were standing there. This is the story that I've got, okay? We were standing there.
Did you see the story? Wait, since you're saying the story, did you see it or did you get a resource?
I heard from my date. So okay, we were standing. Well, I guess I wasn't standing there just yet. But then Oscar was asking people for
no name dropping
for drinks, like to buy drinks or whatever. And so I guess he asked people. And then when we walked up, then she started ordering the rest of the drinks for all the rest of the cousins that were walking up and stuff. And so then she was like going down the line, and then went past my date to me and was like, what do you want? And so I was like, oh, so-and-so, whatever. And then I like asked my date, what did you want? Like I ordered her drink too. And then she was like, I guess like, or maybe you didn't ask her, and I didn't ask her yet. And then she was like, I guess I'm not getting a drink or some bullshit. Right. And then this one, I was like, well, I was drinking. And so I went up to her and I was like, no. Why didn't you ask my date for a drink? Why didn't you ask my date for what she wanted to drink? And she was like, well, Oscar did. And then, so I was like, Oscar, did you ask for what, or did you ask for a drink, or I don't know, some bullshit. But nobody had asked her. And so she was like, she got her feelings hurt.
He asked her.
Well, she said that Oscar didn't ask her. And so it was all stupid. It was all really stupid, honestly.
Please proceed, and then I'm going to tell my side.
But I was like, what the fuck? Like, why aren't you going to ask my date for a drink? Like, and I was like, I can pay for the drink. Like, I don't give a shit, like, why didn't you ask her? And she was like, I did, blah, blah, blah. Or Oscar asked her, blah. And it caused a fight between us. And so then that night, like, we stopped talking for a while. Like, and I, like, was pissed because I was like, bro, like, what if this was, like, like, an actual date, and, like, not just, like, my best friend here, And I was like, and y'all treated her like this. Like, what the fuck? Like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Like, we're not doing that. And so we didn't talk for a really long time.
My side.
All right, now it's her side.
So we were at the bar. All my cousins were there. We're having a great time. A great time. Like, I have not seen these cousins in forever. And when I was having a great time, Oscar's ordering the drinks at the bar. He asked her, hey, what do you want to drink? I remember hearing her, and I was like, okay, cool. When all the cousins arrived and Josh arrived, I was like, hey, what do you guys want to drink? We're ordering drinks. And then he's like, why the fuck didn't you ask her what she wanted to drink? And I was like, who in the fuck are you talking to, bitch? I'm like, for your information, we did ask her what she wanted to drink. And he's like, you're fucking being a fucking dick. You're being a bitch. Like, I could pay for her own shit. I could pay for my own shit. And I was like, bitch, I don't need your money. Like, I'm ordering the drinks. Like, what the fuck?
And we were at a bar where they were like, literally, like, people were buying us shots and shit, like, the night before.
All I remember was, like, they veered off, and I was like, you got me fucked up, bitch. Like, the thing
I didn't tell you the rest of it.
The thing is, like, you got me fucked up to the point that you're going to get, like, one of my best family members here mad at me. Like, you're going to hear my fucking mouth.
She went up to her and was like...
my cousins, so it was Oscar.
Did I offend you?
My cousin. It was my cousins, and then Oscar... I'm like, hold my drink, and then they all they all literally turned around.
Even our older cousins, my mom,
and she's sitting
like
down
everybody.
like in a corner, and I was like, why the fuck did you tell my cousin that I didn't ask for your drink? Like, did I do something to you? She's like, no, and I'm like, so why the fuck are you telling him shit? Now he's pissed as fuck at me because of your ass.
She was scared,
and I was like, don't fuck with me, and I walked away. And then what happened? Something happened, and I was like,
we don't talk anymore.
Damn!
Karma's a bitch. I was like, how dare... I was offended. And the next day, she tried to say... She tried to say bye to me, and I was like, bitch, don't talk to me. Like, you got me...
I don't give a shit.
You got me fucked up. Like, she made him be mad at... We were mad at each other, and I was like, no. And it was so funny, because when I went up to her... They were like, oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah. But they were all like...
They were all watching.
Your side. All on your side, too.
Because I was right.
Whatever. But, and like, yeah. It wasn't good. We didn't talk for months.
And then...
I didn't talk to a lot of family because of her for months.
Yeah, that's what you got, bitch.
For a year.
So, like, that was, like, a cool moment for us, like, that we were able to see all the cousins. And then for your birthday, that we had... I think it was only Karina, no? Karina, Hannah. That was fun. It's like those are the things that I wish like my parents would have done different. Like my brother says, one time he told me, he's like, we're the black sheep of the family. And I was like, oh shit, we really are.
It's not that you're the black sheep. You're just the only people in Florida. Like
everybody is in Texas.
Yeah. Everybody is in Texas. Yeah.
Like I think it's so crazy. Like
it's like Dallas, Fort Worth, the DFW area, and then now Houston.
I asked my dad one time. I was like, "Why didn't we get to like experience that?" He's like, "I got you guys away from that."
Honestly,
and I was like, "Well,
honestly, yeah."
I'm like, "Well, there's no fighting there."
I mean, I talked to my younger cousins in Texas, like one older cousin, and that's about it.
I just think it's very fucked
I just kind of stay away from family, to be honest, besides like the ones that I like fuck with, but that's about it, because it's just like, I don't know, everybody wants to fight, everybody wants to argue, everybody wants to like belittle each other.
Yeah.
But the thing is, no, it's not even that. It's really like, it's a lack of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a lack of the fact that nobody
wants to speak about it, and then when you try to speak about it, I don't want to talk about it.
Still, I mean, that's the lack of communication. But it's also like people feeling like not loved, not getting that love, and then like they don't know how to express it when they have it, or like because like when we argue now, even then we just like look at each other and we're like, dumb bitch, like, shut up, like I was kidding, or like that's not what I meant by this. But actually, we've gotten a lot better with
Yeah.
talking to each other.
Because
And
this one's always like, you better stop. You better not even start with your cousin. He's the one that always tells me.
Good.
He's like, you better not.
it went for
I think
that
that's the
long.
difference between me and Oscar. Like, Oscar comes into our family and he's like, you guys are all fucked up. You guys are all messed up.
It's really
Like,
bad.
it really is. Like, I used to be really bad with my communication skills. Really bad. And, like, I've gotten a lot better because of him.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I've gotten a lot better because of, like, I'm getting older. And it's like, I'm getting a little older. I'm 30. I'm young still. I'm the youngest one in the room, FYI.
Hey.
You're
We're not gonna talk
33.
about it. We're not gonna
We
talk
got a
about it.
35-year-old, then we got a 40-year-old. Damn. Like the other day, you know what I did? I was stretching. This is how fucked up our family is. I was literally upstairs in the room stretching, not doing anything. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I was sober, and I was stretching. The only thing that came up to my mind was Jesse. Like, I just started thinking about him. And then I text him and he's like, I just want to say I love you. And he's like, are you drunk or high? I was like,
sounds like Jesse.
I was like, none. I was just thinking
what?
about you.
I tell him all the time through text, love you, cuz. Oh, love you. Happy birthday. Love you. The only time that he said, I love you back in a text was when my dad died. And like, I was like, oh shit. Like, okay, thanks. Like and that's when I needed it the most. So are we overusing our love yous?
No.
Oh, okay.
I love you.
I don't know.
I love my brother. I love my brother. And I try to always show it, but he's like, bitch, get away.
And
I don't understand why.
That's like our family.
Like, do you think I'm gross? No, he doesn't want to talk to us, guys. He's like, I don't know if he thinks I'm gross or like he's overstimulated or
I just think
he's
that, like,
weirded out.
No, because like Jay's the same. No, she started to be a little bit nicer and like loving.
Like every
but I was
time
gonna
I
say,
see
like,
him
they're
now,
like very like cold.
yeah,
We're more like the warmer.
yeah. And every time I
No
see
offense, I love you.
every time I see him, I want to give him a hug and a kiss because I'm like, come here, give me some sugar.
I want to give him hugs too, and he's just like, "Fuck out of here, bitch." I'm like, all right, okay, all right, come on.
Why are they like?
I tried
that?
to do that with your dad too, and he was.
Oh
just
no,
like,
my dad.
He goes, I'm like, man.
Okay, first of all, my dad is my dad is bad. My dad is bad, and he's gotten worse since COVID. He doesn't kiss or hug anybody. He's like, hey.
Just like his mom.
I'm like, Theo, what's up? Damn.
My grandmother, when we went to Colombia,
His
mom. When we went to Colombia one year, Oscar, we were leaving. Like, our ride was there, and then we were leaving, and Oscar went to say bye to her. Like, I gave her a hug and a kiss. And then Oscar went to say bye to her, and then he went to give her like a hug, and then she went to give him the hand, and he went to give him the hug, and then she went to give him the hug. And then he tried to give her a kiss in the cheek, and she was like this. It was like the weirdest thing.
Oh my God.
You think my dad is bad? She's worse. She's worse.
I can believe that, honestly.
She's so cold. I'm like, how can anybody?
That?
I don't
Why?
know. You think it's
I
just a
don't get
Colombian
it.
thing?
Maybe, but like,
But
no,
my dad
because
was-
every Colombian I meet, they're always like, oh,
Well, my dad opened up recently, and he left the house when he was really young, like really young, and he knows his dad. So his story is a little weird. So he knows who his dad is, but he got raised by his dad's parents, but his dad never stepped up to the plate. Like, he never wanted anything to do with him. The ones that raised him were his grandparents from his dad's side and his dad's brother. Like, until this day, he still talks to his dad's brother. And
His
like,
uncle.
I've gone to Colombia and like gone to see his dad's brother,
mm-hmm.
my uncle, and like I interview him and I'm like, tell me everything.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to know everything. And like, it's so fucked up that like, so she raised my dad single, like she was a single mom,
Mhm.
and then like she got the help from the guy's family, and my dad left with them at a very young age. He was like 13, 14. And he came to the United States very young as well. I think he was 17 when he came
Mm-hmm. By himself.
by
right?
himself. And you know, I feel like that's why he is the way he is as well. Like he's very cold because she's cold, and like how like okay, you can relate to that. Like you didn't have your dad growing up. You had
Right.
your mom's boyfriends.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like
and then
that's
like
hard.
my mom was with Ken for like
Yeah.
a long time, very long time. But yeah, no, I didn't meet my dad until I was 20, and then with that, I found out I had 7 other siblings,
That's crazy.
and then a whole new family. Yeah,
Imagine like all those years that it's like, damn, I want
yeah.
like this, and then like, you get it like,
13 years I
and
had my
then
dad.
his dad passed away.
Yeah,
like,
just this year. Yeah,
Yeah.
from stage 4 cancer. Yeah, it was crazy, very crazy, very hard. You know, I only had him for 13 years, but it was still like shit. Like that was my dad. You know, it's hard when you don't have something growing up, like your whole life,
Yeah.
and then you get it,
And then it gets taken away.
and then it gets taken away from you, and then
Mhm.
it's just like, and you think that it'd be easy because like you didn't have it for so long, but then no, it's just as shitty as like losing a family member, you know? Because my grandma passed away, his mom passed away 6.5 years ago, I believe now, 7 maybe, I don't remember, but yeah, so it's tough, but that's
And-
why I like reach out for like my uncles, you know, like, and I was really close with our uncle for a
Mhm.
while, and then he left, and then I had my uncles on my like from my dad's our parents and our tios and like I mean our tias, but whatever, you know, they have a real issue with like being the favorite of whichever parent. So like our grandma or our grandpa, like they have a real issue about that being like the, oh, you know, you were the favorite, you were like, that's what a lot
Do
of
you-
their arguments were, where like it would start being like, oh, you know, you were always mom's favorite, you know, you were always dad's favorite. And I actually like, it affected me one point where I got in a fight with Jesse about this of
Why?
being grandma's favorite, being Ama's favorite. It was like the stupidest shit in the world too. Like I was like, no, you know, you're the favorite like of Ama because you were the first grandkid. Like you're the oldest. You're the only one that like speaks like fluent Spanish. Like my Spanish sucks. I mean, I understand it very well, but like I don't speak it very well at all. Like, and that's another thing. But with Jesse, like I was really drunk that night. We went to a show, we took a bunch of shots, and then we went to a bar after, and I got into an argument with him about being, and it was so stupid. I felt like I was them. We got into an argument about who was Ama's favorite, and he wasn't even saying shit. It was me being like, no, I know you are. And he's like, what the fuck? Shut the hell up. Like, no, you're not. And I like it made it all up in my head that like, you know, that she like loved him the most and blah blah blah. And I was just like,
I don't think I've ever cared about that.
and
Ever.
and I've never either until like it just came out of nowhere. And then after that, like I was like, what the fuck? Like I just got into my cousin who's like traveling all the way home to Florida from his like stint of living in Seattle, like outside
Portland.
of Portland. And I just got into a fight with him for like the stupidest shit ever. And I felt so bad and so stupid about it after. I was just like, why would I do that? You know, especially like Jesse, like who I've also like I've known you forever, you know, obviously, but like I would come here a lot to visit Florida. I was like one of the only cousins that would come to visit Florida growing up, like every other year or so. Like my mom would, we moved here when I was really, really young, like really, really young. We only stayed here for like a year or so. And we moved back. I don't think you were even born then. No. And then, or maybe you were just born or something. And then I would come and visit every few years. And so I grew up with Jesse, and you were really, really young. And then it got to a point where when we finally moved back, and but Jesse was already like doing like hood rat shit, and I like wasn't like, they all tried to keep me away from that, so like I wasn't able to like hang out with Jesse that much. Like they always made me hang out with you, and fucking play school, and I had to and then I became a teacher, and I'm like, God damn it, like,
Do you think it's my fault, bitch?
yeah, this is your fault. But no, like, so, but I was still really close with Jesse. Like, I grew up with Jesse, and so when I thought back about that after that fight, like, I was just like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Like,
What
I'm
was
not
that?
I'm not like them. This was when he moved back to Florida for the like
So right after Issa was born.
maybe
Yeah, right after Issa was born.
Yeah. And so it was just stupid. It was just one of those things where I was like, I don't want to be like them. And I'm not, like, I don't give a shit, you know, who
I don't care either
about being the favorite or anything like that. Like, that isn't even a thing, like, in my mind anymore. It was just like something that came up, and I was like, that's so dumb. Like, why would I do that and get into an argument? I think that was one of the only arguments that we ever, like, really got into, was that one. And we were at a bar. Like, I'm telling you, I had been drinking, like, a lot at that show that we went to, and it was just stupid. It was so dumb.
That was one of the arguments that we had when I went over there for New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
That it was like,
it was a favorites thing.
It was a favorite thing, like that I was hanging out with one aunt more than the other, and I was like, excuse me, like, and like, I hate to say this because it's like, I don't know where this is gonna lead and if the person's gonna watch it or not, but it's like, I grew up with this person. Like, this was the person that was there when we were little, and like, she was there majority of the time. Like, you know, she defended my brother a lot, like, and I was always at their house, or like vice versa, and like, it's just different. It's different. It's not that I love the person more, because I really don't sit here and be like, oh my God, who, no, right. I don't do that. Right. It's just, it's a different bond. It's a different relationship. Right. It's just a different connection. Like, I can sit there and talk to her, and like, we can, you know, whatever, like, we can just sit there. Like, one time we were just sitting there eating a burger. Like, I was like, hey, do you want to split this burger with me? And like, we sat there and like, we were just chatting, like eating the burger. And it's like, I can do that with her. And like, I could do that with the other, but it's like, when they're in the room together, it's like, hold on, why the fuck are you spending more? No. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
it was crazy.
Does it really have to lead to that? Like, I don't understand the concept of like, how do we get, like, why can't we enjoy each other? Like, I honestly thought, like, I wanted to go on this trip for a specific reason, because I had found out that my grandma was sick and that they thought she was losing her mind.
Alzheimer's.
Yes.
Not
like crazy, but like Alzheimer's. And I had a really hard time. Like, I remember I was crying. Like, I was like, Oscar was like trying to like soothe me, and he's just like, it's okay, we can go for the holidays. And then I got COVID, and then Issa got COVID, and it was like, I feel like now God was like telling me, like, Kat, don't go, like twice. It wasn't once, it was twice. And I felt bad. Like, I really felt bad. Like, and Oscar was like, Kat, I don't think it's a great idea for us to go. And I lost the tickets. Like, I didn't lose the tickets, but I had to pay more money on top of the tickets because I had to change the dates. And we ended up going, and it's like, as soon as I walked in, God slapped me in the face, and he's like, bitch, I told you. Bitch, I told you to stay your ass home. And it's like, I thought this would be a beautiful moment, like, for a beautiful thing that we know is happening. Why can't we enjoy, like, a moment together without fighting for the sake of her? Like, just pretend, just, you know, fake it, like, fake the funk. It's just her. Like, why do you want her to live her last good years? She's getting older. Like, it's obvious. It's obvious. Like, we're all getting older. It's our time. We're in a clock. And it's like, you don't know when her clock is going to shut down. Unfortunately, it's very sad. And I will be very devastated. But like, you can't even get along. Imagine like a moment like that. Like, God forbid, God fucking forbid, God, knock on wood, she passes away tomorrow. They won't even be able to get along at her funeral.
Yeah.
For what? Yeah. What do you fight
and honestly,
for?
At that point, like, I don't even know if like I would really talk to anybody at the funeral. You know, like,
You're there for one thing and that's it.
I would be there to like mourn my grandma and that's it. Like I don't think I would want to, because so at that same like holiday, this thing like, and this was another thing. This is one of the first the New Year's that I spent with them like in years. Like I don't do that, but I did it because you were coming into town, like you wanted to see grandma, and it was just one of those where it was like, what the fuck, like why do we even do this? Why do we get together? This is you just put into me the reason why I skip every other holiday or every year. You know, like for a few years there, I was like, I would not go like Thanksgiving, Christmas, or anything like that. And then the next year they would see me. And then like I just kept doing that. And I say this not to be like I skip out like throughout the year too. Like I'm around, especially to the family in Texas. Like I was coming to their house like every month, at least once a month. And it's kind of far from me. I live in Houston, but like they live in, if you're from the area, you know, like everywhere is going to take you an hour to get to the other part of Houston. So I live in Spring Branch, and they live in Pasadena. So it takes me about an hour if it's like good traffic, no traffic, to get to Pasadena. And so like I don't go there often, but I do throughout the year. But then when it comes to holidays, I don't know what it does to people, but that's when I'm like, I'm not fucking doing this. Like, you guys don't know how to treat each other during the holidays, and you guys get crazy and weird, and so I don't want to do that. So I would go on trips with friends. I would go, one year I did like a trip with just me and my dog. Like we would just, you know, like I always try to get out of the country, or like out of the city at least. And so
Do you think that like, so because you said like I don't know what the holidays does for them. Like, do you think like it's like a trauma for them?
I mean, maybe.
Like during the holidays,
Yeah,
something had
I
happened
mean,
with their parents,
Yeah,
or
it makes
like,
sense.
or
They spent 4 years like with family that wasn't like, they spent it with their tios, and you know, and so like, but like to not spend it with like your parents, like I think it might be a lot for them. I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea.
I think it's a very hard thing, and then
Yeah.
like I wish they would be different for the sake of like, it's a broken chain, and it's like you have to break chains somewhere, and like I feel like I broke it with Isa. Like once I got Isa, I was like, I can't be like this. I can't act this way towards this human that's coming out of me. Like I have to raise this human to be good, and like to know that there is love, there is compassion, there is caring, like there is emotions out there. Like it's not something that we have to bobble in. Like, and I fail sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, I get mad at Oscar and he's like, what's wrong? Like barely anymore, but like before, like I would just like, I want to talk about it. And I would like, he hates that.
Yeah.
And like I've gotten better, and I'll be like, you're like, we need to talk about it. Like you did this wrong, and I didn't like how you did this. And now I can say it, but like I felt like I had to break that, because if I don't do that, then like she's gonna like, I don't know what Isa's life is gonna be, and like I can't predict her future, but like if she's able to have her own family and have her own thing, like I want her to express her love to her kids, to her husband, to her family. Like I want her to show that side of emotion, because I know what it's like coming from a family that you don't get that. Like you don't get I love yous, you don't get those hugs. Like, do you know what like I see like friends or like close ones that are like have like their family and they're like having a good time, and I'm like, wow. Like I don't hate it. Like I don't hate it and I don't envy it, but it's like, wow,
Right.
like how
That's beautiful.
it's beautiful.
I love it. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
how do you get here?
Yeah.
Like how do you have this? And like, why don't I have this? Like, why?
Yeah. I see that with like my other side of my family, like my dad's family. Like they do a lot of that. Like, love you. Like, it's so good to see you. Blah, blah, blah. Like hugs, loves, like all the time. And I'm like, damn, like this is so crazy for me to experience with a different family. It's like, then when we're like, when I am with you guys, I try to be like very like, oh, I love you guys. You know, I want to like, I don't know. I feel like I want to express that with you guys, you know, because like, why can't we, you know, like, why can't I tell you guys that I love you? Because I mean it, you know, like, so I don't know. I think it's definitely something that we all need to kind of at least
try.
Not us. Like I think we're doing a really good job of like communicating that and like really working on it. But I think like working on trying to get the older ones to do it, like it's definitely difficult.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But like,
and it's a work in progress.
It is, and like I think that comes down to like that's how our family is, and like everyone wants to talk about this podcast forever because it's like it's very unfortunate, and like that's how our moms are, and like our aunts and our grandma, and it's sad because it's like as a woman, like you should look up to these women and be like, wow, like amazing, so amazing, and it's like. It's very sad.
It's like parts of them.
Yeah. It's like wow.
Because like we got some boss bitches.
Yeah, we
like,
do.
As parents and mothers and
Yeah.
aunts. But then like there's parts of them that I'm just like, come on, like that's not you.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, that is it for today, guys. That is something that I wanted to talk about, and I'm glad that I got to talk about it with you.
Yeah. We need to talk about some other things like on a different episode, but so I'll be back for sure.
Yeah.
People. Oscar.
So we love you guys, and thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share.